So we'll be looking at the Korean Mabinogi forums. So I think the Mabinogi forums on the Korean website are kind of interesting. It's interesting to like read what opinions the Korean community for the game has. So today we'll be looking at 5 different threads. So the first one will be from the Aaron Discussion Square section of the forums. So what needs to be added to the blacklist function? So other characters and animals on the same account should also be made invisible when someone's blacklisted. So basically if you like blacklist someone, all the other characters and pets on their account should also become invisible and be blacklisted as well. I completely agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree, like, all characters on the account should be made invisible when you block them. Like, you shouldn't have to see any of their other characters or pets or anything like that. And you definitely shouldn't be able to, like, switch to, like, other characters to continue to harass someone that's blocked you. And the next one we'll be looking at is also about the blacklist in the free board section of the forums. So this is half blacklist. So player A blocks player B. Player A is visible on player B's screen, but not on player A's screen. So yeah, this is like a huge problem with the way the blacklist feature works. Like, you can blacklist someone, but they can still see you and follow you around and stalk you, even though you can't see them. It's a huge problem. If A blocked B, it shouldn't be visible on B's screen. If you do something half-hearted like this, I think the other person will notice and criticize you even more. So there's some comments on this one. So yeah, it still sounds like the blacklist still has some problems that should be fixed. I would also like it if the blacklist was separate from the friends list. That way, like, when you blacklist someone, they don't take up space on your friends list. Like, I think the maximum friends or players that you can have on your friends list is like 200. But like, if you blacklist players, they also count. So like, let's say you've blacklisted, 10 people, and that means you can only have like 190 friends, because those 10 people that you blacklisted are taking up space on your friends list. And like, I think the blacklist feature should have its own like separate tab. That way you could blacklist like up to 200 people, and it wouldn't, and you could still like have like 200 friends on your friends list. And next, let's look at Mabinogi needs to update the war using trade to revive PvP. So currently trade is ruined. The reason is that trade items are worthless. It is an item that users cannot use in the actual game, because the looters are not users, but monsters with low artificial intelligence. Trade tensions fall. So I thought this was really interesting because it suggests, like, what if players could choose to become outlaws, so, like, during commerce and stuff. So if we had like a job like merchant, where you're like a trader selling stuff, and then here's the one, outlaw. So what if you could be an outlaw and you could actually like loot people that are doing commerce instead of like the bandits? And it overall just covers some things for how PvP could be improved in general. But this is a pretty long one. But yeah, I think it would be very interesting. I especially like the commerce part. I think it'd be very interesting if we could if we could be the outlaws, if we could be the bandits, and, you know, you could actually attack other players that are doing commerce. But I also think that something like this needs to be would have to be kind of controlled, because not every player wants to be like attacked randomly by some other player, especially when they're just doing something fun like commerce. So I think like limiting it to one channel will be a good solution to this. So like keep one channel in the game where like it's open PvP for like commerce and stuff, and like in most places. So you make it clear that to the players that when you join that channel that you're likely to be attacked randomly by like other players. And then like all other channels, it's the same as it's always been, where like you can't like attack another player unless you both agree to like a PvP match. I think that would be a good way to like limit it without it like going too out of control. And I think there were a few comments on this one too. Scroll down here. So it looks like a lot of the Korean players agree that like they would like PvP to get better, and that Mabinogi's PvP was better in the past, but it's become kind of unbalanced. And then the next thing we'll be looking at in the freeboard section is Blinded's Blessing. So if you look above your head, you will see a round light blue ring called Blinded's Blessing. That's right, it does give you a halo above your head. So how do I make this invisible? So I don't think there is a way to like make it invisible without like turning off Blinded's Blessing. But yeah, I think it would be kind of cool if there was like a option where you could make the halo for Blinded's Blessing invisible, so you can still like get the buff from the Blinded's Blessing, but not have to see the halo there. And then the last one in the freeboard section is Mabinogi possible without capital. So basically, can you play the game without spending a lot of like real money on it? And so is it like pay to win or not? And a lot of them do say that yeah, you can actually play it without putting money into it. And that's one of the best things about Mabinogi, is that it is a completely free-to-play game, but it still has like some cash shop options. Like VIP is 100% optional, and you can play the game completely free without buying any cash shop items. But yeah, I just thought I'd go over like 5 threads on the Korean forums that I thought were interesting. And I'm not sure if this is something I'm going to do in the future. I do check the Korean forums like usually 2 or 3 times a week just to kind of see what they're saying about like certain things and find out like what's going on. So I might make more videos like this, because like I know not everyone checks the Mabinogi Korean site, and I don't know if how many other people in the NA actually bother checking the forums here. Okay, so we're going to be taking another look at the Mabinogi Korean forums. So we'll be looking at 6 topics today instead of 5, just because I found 6 of the topics interesting. So what Mabinogi needs to do in order to grow is to expand its worldview. This is in the freeboard forums. So this player is basically saying that Mabinogi is currently obsessed with Celtic mythology, and it results in the story being a little less interesting after a while. And I'll admit, like, the story of the game is not, like, one of the super strong points of the game. Like, it is something to do, but, like, Gen 1 through 3, those are pretty fun, but anything after that is kind of like, even at a certain point, I stopped caring about the story. And I know there are a lot of players in the NA that don't play the game for the story. Mabinogi started out as a Celtic myth, but it is time to change its name. The name Mabinogi has reached the end of its useful life. I don't think that. Don't throw away the name Mabinogi, but come up with a new name. So since Mabinogi is making a fresh start, why not pick a new name to go along with the engine replacement? So, Mabinu. Or Mabinogi. No, I don't like that. That doesn't sound right. But it looks like the comments are saying they're fine with the current name Mabinogi. I don't think the game name needs to change, personally. It would be kind of interesting if they did stuff to make the story more interesting. And part of this comment is actually being blocked by their name. It's just something in Google Translate, but we can read that better if we paste it here. So changing the name, it's as nonsense as saying to include gunfights in the Harry Potter series. We don't need to change the game name or anything like that. It would be interesting if they tried some different approaches with the story content to make it more engaging and interesting, but I'm happy with the name we have for it. And next we'll be looking at something in the Aaron discussion square. Do you have any plans for a title for the second generation of Militians? So this is a user who plays Mabinogi with their whole family, including children. Now the 20th anniversary is approaching. Do you have any plans for a title for the second generation of Militians, such as Born in Aaron? So this is an interesting topic right here. I think it's really cool that, like, Mabinogi is so old that, like, some players even have kids that are, like, playing Mabinogi now. It just shows, like, how far this game has come and how long it's been around. And yeah, it would be kind of cool if there was a second title added. And as for the, what about the second generation of Militians, such as Born in Aaron? This translation reminded me of an interesting, forum topic. There was a forum topic where, in the NA forums, where players were discussing if Militians were capable of having kids. So that's in the NA forums, in the story discussion section. That was made like 4 years ago. So next we'll look at the location of the Bangor Moongate is strangely marked. This is in the Aaron discussion square. So currently the Bangor Moongate is like right down here. And the Morva Isle one is like here. And yeah, these are in the wrong location. Like, Morva Isle is right down here. This is where the Moongate for Morva Isle should be. Because this is where the actual physical Moongate is. And yeah, the Bangor one should probably be a little bit higher. So the Bangor Moongate should probably be a little bit higher up, closer to the name Bangor. And another topic in Aaron Discussion Square is, wasn't there a limit of 200 friends? So if I'm correct, I have 200 friends, and blacklist 300 people. So I don't know if this is a recent change, but I think it's a good one if we can blacklist 300 people and it doesn't take up space on our friends list. As far as I know, you can have up to 200 people on your friends list, but the problem in the NA is that anyone you blacklist takes up space on your friends list. I hope they separate the friends list and the blacklist into two separate lists, so we could blacklist like 200 or 300 people and have up to 200 friends. I think that'd be a lot better. So, Aaron Discussion Square, please give me a large sheep riding pet to succeed Kokopo. So Kokopo was a big bird mount that could hold 2 people from an old anime event. I want to sit on a fluffy sheep, turn on the wings of speed, and run through Aaron. Mabinogi's representative character also has a sheep named Pan, and I can argue that such a pet is a must-have. So basically a giant sheep pet that functions like the Kokopo. That would be dyeable. I would be all for that. We do have like a giant sheep pet in the game, but you can't like mount it. And next let's look at Aaron discussion town square. When trading alpacas, alpaca wagons are requested to be applied as the default value. So from reading this, what I'm basically getting is that this player would like it if we could buy an alpaca pet. When we get an alpaca pet and we have one on our account, we could just use the alpaca wagon without having to have the actual pet summoned. And I'm all for that. One of the reasons I'm all for that idea is so we can actually use our partner with the alpaca wagon. I think that would be really nice, because you can't have a pet and a partner summoned at the same time, so you currently you can't use a commerce partner with the alpaca wagon. I think it'd be a big improvement if all you had to do was have a alpaca pet on your account to use it. Alright, so it's been a while since I've made a video looking at the Korean forums, but today we're going to look at the Korean forums and 3 of the topics. So in the freeboard forums, we have if you switch to Unreal Engine, it would be difficult with a laptop, right? It would be difficult to play with a laptop. It really shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as you're using like a fairly decent gaming laptop. And that's pretty much true. Like, there are going to be a lot of players that are probably going to have to make some upgrades to whatever computer setup they have. There should be laptops that can handle playing Mabinogi and Unreal fairly well. But the best way to play Mabinogi on Unreal would definitely be with a desktop. I mean, it's just known that desktops have more horsepower, they're just better. So like, the best and cheapest option would probably be to build your own desktop, buy all the parts to it, build it yourself. But yeah, the game should run on laptops. I'm hoping that the game will still be able to run on most laptops. Like, what's great about Mabinogi now is like you can basically buy any modern day laptop with Windows from just about anywhere, and it'll probably be able to play Mabinogi with almost no issues. But that's gonna change when we get the Unreal Engine update, like... But I'm still hoping that it'll work on, like, a decent laptop that's not overly expensive. And then next in the Aaron discussion forum we have, I wish Unreal would remove gender lock on items. I know that in the current version of Mabinogi, clothing items are not like clothes that you put on the body, but like Nendoroid figures, where the body and clothing are the same part. If it's realistically difficult to remove gender locks on items in the Pleon engine environment because of that characteristic, wouldn't it be relatively easy to modify modeling to wear items of the other gender in the new engine? So that is a very good question. And it looks like this one didn't get any replies. But yeah, I'm sure there would be a lot of players in the NA that would also be happy if there were less gender-locked items in the game. And hopefully with Unreal Engine, hopefully we can see more clothing that isn't gender-locked. And last, we'll be taking a look at this one. So we need to remove useless dramas from the mainstream. The worst quest collection ever. So this player is complaining about the blinded tutorial. This acts as an entry barrier for newbies at the very End of the story. Take it out of Blanded's memories. Make it skippable like Gen 7. Shakespeare is pretty useless, but the volume is small enough to bear it. So, are they complaining that they have to do like mainstream story quests to pass the last memoir? I don't really think that's a big deal. And also, like, the Blanded storyline, as far as I know, like, the Blanded tutorial is 100% optional. Like, you don't have to do the Blanded tutorial system if you don't want to. I do know that for the 4th volume, you do have to do, like, all the generations through, like, Generation 18, which is, like, Saga 2. To get all the rewards from it and complete the 4th memoir. But I really don't see that as too big of an issue because, again, as far as I know, you're not really required to do any of the memoirs to progress in the game. Like, you could choose to ignore the Blanded tutorial system completely if you wanted to, like the old way of like learning skills currently still exists and stuff like that. But obviously you do need to do the generations and complete the 4th memoir if you want to get the rewards from the Blanded tutorial. Book 4. But no, I don't think that's a big issue. But yeah, that covers 3 of the forum topics on the Korean forums. Alright, so today we'll be taking another look at the Mabinogi Korean forums, and today we're going to be looking at posts about the new Battle Astrologer talent in the Freeboard forums. So, have you done all the astrology quests? So, is it efficient to complete the quest 30 times twice to get the Protection Stone enchantment? And there's some comments about this. And then we also have Astrology is finally coming out. I almost threw up trying to get rank 1 at the end of Fatal Crush. That's one of the skills. And then someone else comments that they're also trying to get rank 1 by doing repetitive quests. And then we also have... By the way, this is a note about the Shadow Rush event for the Battle Astrology talent. So I guess a lot of the, the events for this, or the scenario quests for this new talent, are a bit of a grind. Like, there's a lot of, like, repetitive quests involved. The quest condition is clear Shadow Mission 30 times with the Battle Astrology training talent selected. And then we have I'm training to be an astrologer, the skills are fun, and so basically, like, the kind of feeling I'm getting from this talent is that it's a fun talent to play as, but the scenario quests or the event quests for this event, for this talent that come with it, are a bit of a grind to do. They're a lot of work. And astrologer draw. I can't draw the support card. What should I do? So this is one of the Korean players asking for help. So this new talent has a very complicated, like, card system and things like that, so it looks like this talent is pretty confusing, actually. And we'll see that the Battle Astrologer is now listed as one of the talents, because on the KR website they list all the talents, like, down here, and the Battle Astrologer icon was added. It has that little scythe for it. So some people have been asking, like, what stats, like, affect this skill, and it looks like this talent is going to help raise up your intelligence and luck stats, so it'll probably How much damage it does will probably depend on how high your intelligence and luck is. But yeah, that covers some of the things about the Battle Astrologer talent. So I wonder when we'll get this talent in the NA. I'm kind of thinking that we'll probably get this talent like in the NA, probably like maybe in December or like early next year sometime. Alright, so today we'll be looking at 4 posts on the Mabinogi Korean forums in the freeboard section of the Korean forums. So first we're going to look at, for those who are disappointed with the game system after a long time. So this game engine has not had any engine-related updates. I don't remember there being any additional updates to the engine like in recent foreign games. Even if there are inconveniences, the game company does nothing to resolve them. Anyway, who hasn't complained before saying that it's inconvenient? So if you're going to do it for a short while, anyway, I recommend not coming now, but after the engine is changed. So they're basically saying that if you're gonna play the game, maybe you should wait until after the Unreal Engine update is done. The problem is that it's still far away. Yeah, everyone's kind of guessing that the Unreal Engine update will be done in 2026. That's what we're all kind of hoping for. But it might take longer than that. If you're going to keep doing it anyway, so if you're going to keep playing it anyway, you have no choice but to adapt to the way the game is. So yeah, that's true. Like, Mabinogi does have some problems that still haven't been fixed, and you just have to live with it and adapt to it and play it how it is for now. The problem now is that even though there are inconveniences, there are no major changes since they are in the process of changing the engine. And there won't be any major changes until it's done. The existing users are naturally dissatisfied, but they have no choice. What about the people who came from other games? It seems like there are only 2 options, continue or just quit. Personally, in my opinion, I think if you can live with the way Mabinogi is right now, it's worth like trying it out and like continuing rather than just quitting. Because, like, we've gotten a bunch of useful updates, like quality of life updates that have helped the game out. And yeah, it still has its bugs and it still has its flaws, but it's still a very fun game to play. And I can live with the minimal problems that it does have. And let's take a look at the one comment down here. So whether you like it or not, there are people who will either return or stay because there is no game like Mabinogi in the end. But if you don't like it, you should leave. There is no point in complaining about the system as an individual in the situation. So I do agree with this comment. Like, I think that if you're genuinely not enjoying the game, if you're not enjoying Mabinogi, then maybe it's best to just leave until the Unreal Engine update comes out. But they're also right, there is no other game like Mabinogi in the end. Like, I've been around playing MMOs for a long time, I've tried more than I can count, from the crappy ones to the really good ones, and like, Mabinogi is special. Mabinogi is a great MMO. It's pretty much the only MMO that has really gotten me to stick around long term. Like, there is no other game that has like kept my interest as long as Mabinogi has. And the next post we'll take a look at here. So this guy is Kingslayer, so we're gonna nickname him Jaime Lannister. Because he has blonde hair and he has a sword here and he's calling himself the Kingslayer. So I started the game when I was a freshman in high school. Now I'm 38 years old. There was a game called Mabinogi before you guys were born. So I don't know what he's trying to accomplish by saying this. This is kind of a silly post that I just wanted to make a little fun of. And even the comments here is kind of confusing because, like, is he commenting on his own post, disagreeing with his own point? Like, he's even down here saying, like, don't cross that road, like, it was popular at one point. Or is he not recommending the game? Like, what's the point of this post? I don't really see, like, the point of this player, like, posting this in the first place. I mean, there are lots of people that played Mabinogi when they were in high school. Like, I was 17 or 18 when I started playing Mabinogi, and I'm, like, 34. Like, in the NA community, there are people in their 30s or 40s that are playing the game. So overall, I just think this post is kind of silly, and I don't really see, like, the point of it. It's kind of ridiculous. And next we'll look at this post here. When on Earth is the 24-year roadmap coming out? So basically asking when is the 2024 roadmap coming out? It's already been 8 months since we've reached 2024, because it's August, the 8th month. Shouldn't users know what the update and event plans are for this year? If you don't even disclose the roadmap, are you just playing around? Otherwise, how will users know if you're really working hard for them? It's been a long time since, like, I've seen a roadmap for Mabinogi Korea. And this person's wondering why aren't they getting that? And let's take a look at the comments. So this comment says, they said that they are not going to do it anymore because it is too hard to do it according to the roadmap. They said that they will only tell you a little bit about what is almost finished. And then the person that created the thread is replying to that, saying, what kind of nonsense is it to say that you're going to run without even making a plan? It doesn't make sense from a user's perspective. The lack of a roadmap means that there are not many plans to make major changes. We may not know for sure until after the engine is replaced. I think one reason why they might not be doing like a roadmap in Korea is because maybe most of their attention is focused on working on the Unreal Engine update. In fact, that would be a good thing, because like I think that the Unreal Engine update should happen as soon as possible. The NA does still get like roadmaps, like we get what's called the producer's letter, and that usually tells us like the list of updates that the NA team has planned for the next 6 months. So we still get like sort of a roadmap thing, but I can understand if Korea doesn't want to do that because they have to work on the Unreal thing, and it is a lot of work to like live up to what you post in a roadmap. And then last we'll take a look at this. So looking at astrology, so Arcana is enough to increase it. So I'm assuming they're talking about the battle astrology talent that came out recently. And yeah, I think it would be cool if, it'd be really cool if the new battle astrologer was part of, like, one of the upcoming Arcana. I'm not sure what they plan on doing for the, like, the next 2 Arcana. I haven't heard anything about what the next 2 Arcana will be. And there are no comments on this one. But yeah, that's just another look at some of the posts on the Korean Mabinogi forums. Alright, so today we'll be looking at 3 forum topics in the Korean forums on the free bulletin board. So seriously, why are you guys playing this game? This guy is basically complaining about Nexon, saying that they're a criminal organization that makes money through odds, manipulation, and other illegal means. And he's genuinely curious why people are still playing this, and why Nexon hasn't listened to his 2 suggestions, which aren't even that good. I think, like, with an MMO, like, you'll never find a perfect, like, MMO publisher or developer. there's always flaws with just about every MMO publisher or developer out there. It's never going to be perfect. And Nexon isn't that bad, in my opinion. Like, yeah, they can be a little greedy sometimes, but overall Nexon does a good job on all their games. Like, pretty much every Nexon MMO or game I've played has been a really solid game. It's felt really good. So, at least they make good content. And that's all I really care about. But let's check out some of the comments and see what they have to say about it. So Mabinogi, it's a game that makes you want to swear at it. But if you look at the game itself, there doesn't seem to be a game that can replace it. This is true. I haven't found another game that I enjoy quite as much as Mabinogi, mostly because Mabinogi is so unique. But I feel if they just improved the management a bit, it would be a huge hit, so I don't know why they're intentionally fighting and neglecting this. I don't think they're completely neglecting this. I have noticed in recent years, since we've gotten the new director, the new Korean director of Mabinogi, that they've been making a lot of positive changes for the game, like quality of life updates, and the new director seems to be open to listening to the player base more. So I feel like they're taking the right steps to improving this game. I don't think they're neglecting it as much as this person thinks they are. So I play it because I really like it. There is nothing perfect in this world, that's true. I don't expect games or life to be perfect. That's a good attitude to have when playing MMOs or any video game in general. I just enjoy the good parts and do them. If there was nothing fun or good about this game, you probably wouldn't have sent suggestions or played it until now. Instead of asking others, think about it carefully yourself and either quit or look away again. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good opinion to have on the game. Like, think about why you play the game. Think about if you're really enjoying it or not, and then take a break from it if you need to, keep playing it if you want to, or just quit. But like overall, don't expect the game to be perfect because it's not. Mabinogi has a lot of its flaws, and part of that is due to its current limited engine, and some of that is also due to the decisions that Nexon has made in the past. But overall, the game is still very good, very fun, and I can overlook the negatives about the game because of that. On the contrary, I think it's the same as people asking, why didn't you quit sooner? If you have feelings for someone, you're still holding on, but if not, you're just giving up. So yeah, that's true too. Because it's free. Mabinogi is free. That is one of the perks to Mabinogi. There is premium service, but it's completely optional. You can play the game completely free. But it seems like most people are aware that Mabinogi is a flawed game and it's not perfect, but they choose to stay around anyway, mostly because it's a unique MMO and there isn't another one quite like it. So you just have to take both the good and the bad and just live with it or move on. So that's why people stay in the game, and it's the same in the NA community too. Like, we know that the game is flawed, we know Mabinogi has its problems, but we all stick around in Mabinogi because it has, like, that... It has a lot of good qualities too. It's good at, like, keeping players around. I mean, there's a reason why everyone has stayed in the game so long, and that reason is a little different from player to player, but, like, overall, both in the NA and Korea, players have learned to accept all the good and bad of Mabinogi and overall decided to stay because it's just one of the best games out there. So then we have this thread, but this is it. If you don't have equipment, are you unable to access the content at all? So what do they mean by this? Let's take a look at the comments. You can do most things. In other games, there is a level limit, and it is difficult, but in this game, you keep reincarnating, collecting AP, and leveling up your skills, so there is no problem. There is no equipment to buy with real money. That isn't completely true. There is some real equipment included sometimes in gachapons, at least in the NA, and I'm not a big fan of that, but luckily that doesn't happen very often. The only things you can buy with real money are things you can sell to others and put up for auction to make money. So yeah, one of the advantages to Mabinogi is even though we have gacha, just about everything in the game can be sold in the auction house to other players for gold. I think like one of the few things that you can't sell on the auction house is like partners. Like those are a cash shop only item, for example. You do actually have to buy those with your own money, but overall it's not that bad. And that's mainly because you can just sell just about any cash shop item to other players, and it creates a open and free market. You can even sell pets, so that's good. What kind of content are you trying to enter? So that's a good question. So since this thread is about equipment, I will say that you can get pretty far in the game without equipment. Like, I don't have very good equipment in the game, and I've already gone through all of Gen 25, so you can definitely go a long way without, like, super good equipment. Like, I can run veteran dungeons and, like, do all that stuff, and, like, I've cleared Gen 25. So you don't really need, like, good equipment to enjoy the story and most features in the game. I think the only time that you really need to worry about, like, getting better equipment is when you're doing, like, the endgame raids and stuff like that. So, like, Rabbi Phantasm, Crombass, Glenberna, and, like, other endgame dungeons and content. Unless Mabinogi's operating policy changes, Mabinogi will... So, I was ranked first on the Mabinogi server. I am an unfair user who is permanently banned for posting on the free bulletin board. So they were banned for something. If Mabinogi is to develop, it must stop permanently banning users. So it looks like this person got banned from the free bulletin board and then like created like a alternate account to like come here and post this and complain about it. So an official apology is needed, and I hope the Mabinogi management will compensate me and apologize as soon as possible. So yeah, this player feels like they're entitled to an apology because they messed up, basically, which is kind of ridiculous. Let's see what the comments say, though. And they did link a video here. I did watch some of it, but didn't really seem too relevant. And down here in the comments, the video and text content seem different. Just play the game that was already made. He made the game and said he would play it, and so that's why if you don't like it, you can just leave. Go to the hospital. Yeah, like this player needs to get some help. It seems like they're being pretty entitled. So I don't know what they did to piss off Nexon. They probably broke some rules or something like that. So they probably made a mistake and now they're just like complaining on the forums because they have nothing better to do. But yeah, that's 3 posts in the free bulletin board on the Mabinogi Korean forums. Alright, today we'll be having another look at the Mabinogi Korean forums. So we're looking at the errand discussion forums on the Korean site. So we'll be looking at 4 posts today. So 5 things to improve in Mabinogi. So this player wants to see a reset on dormant nicknames that have been inactive for a long time. There are too many duplicate names. And yeah, when you delete a character, you should like get that nickname back. You should be able to like use it again. And post Unreal Engine news more often. I know you're taking it slow, but once every half year seems too slow. Please let me know every 3 to 4 months. So yeah, I do kind of get it. I get why they are only releasing it every like half year. Like, it would be nice to get information a little bit more often than that, but at the same time, I would rather they have more time to actually focus on working on the update. And like, if they have to update us every 4 months or so, then like, that's just less time they have to work on the update, and it'll just take longer. So I don't really have a problem with waiting every 6 months for the for new news to drop about the Unreal update. But that's just my opinion on it. Please improve partners. Partners are completely outdated content compared to pets or Moonlight Island residents. I don't know that much about Moonlight Island residents because I don't have any on my Moonlight Island yet. So make it easier to give like equipment and stuff to partners as well. Yeah, it'd be nice if partners had a small update. Please give us a new arcana or talent so that the rapier can be used in actual combat, not just as a ceremonial equipment. Yeah, it would be kind of cool to have like a fencing talent or something, so we could use the rapier sword a little bit more. Please make a jump function after the Unreal patch. I want to be able to jump when I press the spacebar like in any other game. Yeah, I hope that's something they add when we move to Unreal as well. I think that a lot of players would like the ability to jump freely in Mabinogi without requiring the use of an umbrella or a pet or some kind of action. So yeah, that would be a good idea. And next, let's look at this one. Please add a damage skin dressing room tab. This is a really good idea. So thank you for adding a dedicated dressing room tab for chairs, halos, tails, and face decorations in the dressing room. This time, please create a tab to collect damage skins that increase in number with various events. So there are currently 22 damage skins released. And yeah, Korea does have a few more damage skins than we do at the moment. Like these ones up here are new, like these 4 right here. And like this one, and yeah, these ones might be new, I'm not sure. I think it would be better to use a method that changes to the corresponding damage skin by pressing apply. So yeah, that would be pretty convenient if we just had like the damage skins in the dressing room and you just press apply on the one that you want to use and it would just take effect. That way it wouldn't need to eat up like inventory space. Currently right now I'm storing my like extra damage skins in like a pet, because you can put them in pet inventory. But it would be nice if we could actually put them in the dressing room. I like this one. Why is this blocked? I'm a newbie, so I really don't know. I don't know either. I don't know why this is blocked. Why is this gate here? Wouldn't it be faster to get to the Sky Garden, or the Hanging Garden, as we call it in the NA version? I really don't know why it's blocked. Yeah, I don't know why it's blocked. I'm really curious, like, what's the purpose of this gate? I think it'd be a lot better if they removed it, so I'm 100% with this player. I hope that when we move over to Unreal Engine, they remove this gate. Like, don't even bother adding it. Save yourself 5 minutes and just don't even bother adding this gate, and everything will be better. And then we have Idia Reincarnation Zone. Ian reappears again. So they're probably referring to the NPC in that tutorial zone, Fion. And could you please make a reappearance similar to, I'm assuming that's a mistranslation for 10. So yeah, what is going to happen with the tutorial areas in Idia? Like, you can only get to the tutorial areas in Idia by, like, rebirthing and having your location set to Idia. But, like, these tutorial zones are very outdated. I'm not sure if anyone even bothers, like, going to them anymore. So it'd be nice to see, like, what they have planned to, like, update that and make it relevant again. Because we have the tutorial field in Rano, right here. And this just teaches you the basics of, like, exploration mastery and some of the stuff you need to know for Idia stuff, like sketching and stuff like that. So this one's the tutorial zone for humans. And then we have the tutorial field in Conus for elves. With Vena. And then we have the tutorial field in Physis for giants. So, like, what's gonna happen to these areas? Will they ever get used again? It'd be nice if these could get, like, a little update. And then we also have the Forest of Souls in Turconail. I believe that area right there is, like, the exit to the Forest of Souls, and, like, so the entrance and exit to it is, like, very close to the church in Turconail, I think. There's, like, a gate near the church of Turconail that you can't go through anymore. So I wonder if, like, these tutorial areas are just something that are going to be... if they're just gonna be, like, deleted when we move to Unreal, or if they plan on fixing them and making them better. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at 4 more posts in the Mabinogi Korean forums. So this one is on Loot server, because Korea still has different servers, about News Guild. So this is a new user who started playing Mabinogi 2 months ago, and they wanted to join a guild. So they made a request to join the guild, but that guild reported them for using profanity. And they're basically saying that they didn't, and they're a little disappointed that they were reported for something like that. So yeah, I think that's kind of unfortunate that that's happening. I don't know, like, how different the Korean community is, but most players in the NA wouldn't, like, do that to, like, a new player. So that's kind of disappointing to see. And here's the next one. So it seems like puppetry structure needs improvement. So summoning, linking, casting, and activating. Now it seems that this server lag is also vulnerable to structural improvements. There are no comments on this one. But yeah, overall I think it would be kind of cool if we could get some updates to puppetry to make it, like, better. Because it is, like, a really unique talent, and you don't really see, like, a lot of other talents or classes in other games that are like the puppetry talent. And next we have this thread, so why games are becoming more and more boring. So the purpose of running the game is to maximize income, that's true. Since games are ultimately a business, they have no choice but to be systems created with the goal of profit. Looking at the current situation, Mabinogi is a game maintained by veterans. That's true both for the Korean version and the NA version, I guess. That is why developers operate the system based on the standards of veterans who make money. Yeah, it does seem like most updates do center more around the mid-game players and the veteran players, more than like new players. And then here's the second part of it, so it is a shame because it is so dense. For the reasons above, the higher the level, the higher the barrier to entry. Because the barrier to entry is high, new and returning newbies find it difficult to play the game and are reluctant to play. In most cases, the first step is to derail. If this continues, the number of users will eventually decrease. As the number of users decreases, the remaining veterans will also become bored with the game and end up derailed. In the end, that's how the game becomes a stalemate. And they're comparing it to like another game over here. So this point I both agree and disagree with. I think that we could use some updates to beginner content that's early in the game to make it more friendly to new players. But at the same time, I do not think there is a extremely high barrier to entry in the game. Like, at least not the NA version. I think that anyone that's like new or returning to Mabinogi might feel a little overwhelmed with how much we have in the game, because there is a lot to do, and it can take a long time to actually get caught up. But overall, I think that the game is still fairly friendly to new players. Like, the game is completely free to play, and you can enjoy just about 90% of the in-game content completely free. It's just a game where things take time. Like, this isn't one of those MMOs where you play it for 2 or 3 months and then you're suddenly at max level with everyone else at the end game. Like, this is a game where you build up your character slowly and you take it day by day. I think the best way to like avoid burnout from like a game like this is just to take your time with it and play it the way you want to play it. Like, it's fine if you want to like get advice from other players that have been around for a long time, but overall, play the game the way you want to. And then last here, then what should we do? So slowly increase content and focus on supporting newbies. Before Unreal, we need to create an operation where operators can develop in an equal manner. If you are truly serious about Mabinogi and want to keep it alive, there is no other answer than this. So yeah, I do think they could like add some content to help new players out. Like, it would be better if we had like some more stuff for new players to help them settle into the game easier. But overall, like, I don't really think that there's a massive barrier to entry for like playing the game. Like, we have the blinded tutorial system and that helps out a lot. And it's not that bad. Let's see if there are any comments on this one. And the guy that made this thread, it looks like he's even replying to just about, yeah, all 3 people that are commenting here, so that's good. In other games, there are limits, that's why they make things stronger with crafting and such, but this game is free from such restrictions because of the reincarnation, so rebirth. That's why it's even worse. In terms of operations, the team leader adds things as he pleases and leaves without looking into it, so there's no way the system can be stably established. And then the guy that made the thread comment saying, at least the current director and leader seem to be normal, even though there were mistakes compared to the mess of the old management style. The current one seems to be the best. And I actually do agree with this. I think the current director of the Korean version of Mabinogi is great. He seems to be open to listening to player feedback and knows like what the players want for Mabinogi. So yeah, I think the current Korean director of Mabinogi is doing a great job. And last, let's look at this one. So I'm pretty sure this is a translation error here. I can't get a cat for a day. How many people play games every day? Are you really going to have an event that takes 20 days? And then there's some comments down here. If you come late, there's no way. There's nothing we can do about it. We can only wait for the next event. You look like you have a lot of money. Why don't you just buy one at the auction house? This one's saying, like, why don't you just buy something, why don't you just buy, like, an event item you missed from the auction house then? You can do it for 20 out of 28 days, but if you can't do it, then there's nothing you can do. The event is also held to secure users, and it only takes 5 to 10 minutes a day to complete the quest. So if you can't do it, then you just can't receive it. And this is the guy that like started the thread, so they're saying 20 out of 28 days is wrong. Do you think everyone has a desktop and can log in every day? 20 out of 60 days is ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know, like, I think if you have like about 28 days for an event, and you have to put in like 20 days of work for it, I think that's reasonable. I'm not sure how it is over in Korea, like maybe people can't log in every day there, depending on their living situation, I'm really not sure. I don't know if like some players go to like internet cafes over there or something like that to play Mabinogi or something like that. But like over in the NA version of the game, like, this really isn't a problem for most people. Like anyone can do an event like this. But there have been a few like really close events in the NA where it's like, if you even miss one day, then it like messes you up for like the whole event and things like that. So it would be nice if they didn't make the time crunch for some events so tight, because it does feel like that is a problem for like 1 or 2 events that we get a year. But other than that, like they usually give you a pretty reasonable amount of time to do everything. Alright, let's take a look at the Korean forums again. So today we'll be looking at 6 topics from the Korean forums. We'll start with the errand discussion forums first. So could you please increase the maximum zoom out ratio? When I run the text on an FHD 1920 by 1080 monitor, the viewing angle is too narrow. QHD is supposed to make the map wider, but I hope this gets improved. And if you use GeoForce graphics settings, it will work, but then the text will be broken and other interfaces will be too small. I just wish the map view angle was wider than the current interface. So yeah, it looks like the interface could use a lot of work. Hopefully this is something that will get improved with Unreal Engine. It would be nice if we could play on larger monitors and like just adjust the size of the UI so it kind of fits what we need, but right now that isn't really the case. I only play Mabinogi on a 24.5 inch monitor because anything bigger than that just makes the interface way too small and super hard to read. And let's look at the next one. Please create a button to change the auction house selling price. It's annoying and hard to cancel the sale and relist it, especially for items that need to be listed one by one. It's really annoying and difficult. A button to change the amount is urgently needed. So yeah, I think this would be a good quality of life change if you didn't have to like completely take your listing off the auction house and could just like change the amount and like leave it up. I think that'd be fine. Because right now you have to like cancel the sale completely, the item goes back to your inventory, and then you have to relist it, and like that takes time to do. It'd be easier if we could just click something where we change the price and it's done. I mean, I think we can do that for personal shops, can't we? You can just like adjust the price without like taking the item like off your personal shop. So personal shops already work that way, so why would this be a problem for the auction house? Like just do the same thing for that. And next we have, it doesn't make sense to link animal character names to human character names. There are probably more animal characters or partner characters than characters. What if the names of animal characters, which increase exponentially as you go on, are shared with regular characters? So why on earth have they left this as it is for decades? Isn't this really a bad situation? Let's see if there are any comments on this one. I think the problem is that when it was first developed, the animal characters were created as animal characters, not pets. At first it was judged that it was not a problem to only have one animal per account. And now, without a whistle, the animal characters were created individually as cards, and considering that the Finny pet whistle is just a duplicate monster name, it is possible when developing at the time the animal characters were created based on a similar race classification. Okay, yeah, so what do you think on this? Like, do you think the names of animals or pets shouldn't matter? Should we just be able to name our pets whatever we want? Like, who cares if, like, some pets, like, share the same name with another pet? And giant shoulders. Other races seem okay. Why are giant shoulders dislocated? So, I actually don't know on this. Do giant shoulders look more dislocated than human shoulders? I guess they do. But hopefully this will be something that gets fixed in Unreal, but comment your opinion on this down below and let me know. And next we have, there are no more strange clothes. I don't think I've seen any for a year. And I'm pretty sure they're talking about Illunid outfits. Because this comment says, why are you wearing strange clothes? It's a bit weird to put female clothes on male characters. So things are different in Korea. They obviously have their different opinions on it, but like, let me know in the comments like what you think. Should there be more Illunid outfits, or do we need more, or do we need less? I personally don't really mind either way. I think like the more fashion choices all players have, the better. So like, I get that there are some male outfits that like some female characters want to wear, and I also get that there are like some female outfits that some male characters want to wear, and I don't really see any problem with that. But obviously things are a little bit different in Korea, so I'm not sure what their stance is on it, but I don't really mind it as an NA player. And last, let's look at I'm sick of this game. There aren't any games worth playing these days. I've played Mabinogi for about 4 months. I already feel the limitations of the content. I hardly ever log in. If I communicate with people, I can do it for a long time, but because of my current life, continuous communication is impossible. I feel like the game content isn't really that limited. I think Mabinogi is a pretty free and open game where you can play like the way you want to pretty much from the start. You hardly have to do any like story quests or tutorial quests at all to get into like most of the features of the game. But I will agree that like the engine has a lot of limitations that are a little unpleasant to deal with. Like overall, I think the engine, the current game engine, is the game's biggest limitation. And yeah, luckily we're moving to Unreal, so I'm hoping Unreal comes soon too. So let's have a look at the Korean Aaron discussion forum. So we'll be looking at 4 topics from this part of their forums. I wish each bag had a separate magnetic function. Combine only the relic fragments in the relic tag bag with the bag magnet. Like this roulette event, I get tired of reward items not automatically combining. I can't use all the magnets in my inventory because I'm afraid that items with a limited time remaining will be combined. Items that were randomly placed in a bag may be combined, or an item selected in the desired color may be eaten by a newly received item. So yeah, I think it'd be cool if like each bag had like its own like magnet feature that worked a little bit better for combining items. That'd be a good idea. I could see how that could be useful in like some cases, and they do bring up a good point about items with a limited time. Sometimes you don't want those to combine quite yet, so you don't want to like push the magnet button that combines like everything. So I like the idea. Let's take a look at this one next. So please clear just one table in Stuart's room. After 20 years of playing games, I feel like talking to Stuart is the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It'd be nice if that one table disappeared, but it's ridiculous that no one has pointed this out in 20 years. So yeah, I actually agree with this. I think that talking to Stuart can be kind of annoying when you enter the room. There's not a lot of space between the table and this wall, so it's not really easy to move around. It looks like it's easy to move around in this area, like it looks like there's a lot of space here, but actually like moving there is pretty annoying sometimes. And these 2 tables look exactly the same. Like, look, all the same stuff is on these tables. Does he really need 2 of them in here? I'd be fine with it if they took out one of these tables and then just centered the other one on the rug there. That'd be fine. But we likely won't see any changes to the inside of this building until we move to Unreal. So hopefully it'll be better then. But yeah, I completely agree. It can be very annoying to talk to Stuart sometime, and I'm surprised there aren't more complaints about it too. So they bring up a good point there. Please make it so I can turn off the scoreboard. I don't know why I have to see who made what and what they ate. Could you please make a function to turn it off? So yeah, that little board that appears along the top of the screen in game whenever someone like cooks something or something happens or someone achieves a Grandmaster an achievement, like that message always displays. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to turn that off, I think. Like, I can understand how it can be a little annoying, especially when there are some players that use like bugles and all the bugle messages like appear there. At least for the NA version, they like made like a thing where like there's a cooldown time, so you can't like spam bugles all the time because it was just getting ridiculous. But yeah, I think there should be an option to like turn that feature off completely so it just doesn't appear at the top of the screen. You can still see the messages down in your chat box, which is in the center of the screen at the bottom, and I think that's good enough. So they really should have an option to turn that off for players that do not want to see it. And last, let's look at chronic disease that cannot be solved in Unreal. It's a human bred. Please make me have a slim face. The human faces are all distorted as if they've been hit once. I know that elves are pretty, but it's too much for them to have faces that aren't even average for humans. And I did translate this part, so let's figure out what that says. So this translates to the cursed bred face of humans that cannot be solved even in Unreal. I actually don't think that the human face looks too bad. Like, I kind of see their point. It does look a little bit like that, but it's not really like a super noticeable problem. Let's look at the comments down here. There are two of them. There are cases where the number of people who can become thinner like an old elf is increased. Rather than saying it can't be solved in Unreal, I think it's just that the workers' standards for beauty are lacking. So that's what the comments are saying. I don't think this is as big of an issue as people think it is. Like, keep in mind that this is what, the second or third trailer we've seen for Unreal, like, all together, and like there's still a lot of work to be done. I'm sure this is just one of the many face options out of like many that they're working on. So like it's too early to say. They still have time to like fix things. Nothing is going to be perfect in like what we're seeing right now. And even this looks pretty good, honestly. Like, I watched this entire trailer and it was impressive. So I would give the team a little bit more time. I wouldn't say that they're like neglecting anything or anything like that. I think that like this is just like pictures, this is like a video of like the very early Unreal Engine development, and there's still a lot of things that haven't been finalized yet. So like, let's wait and see like what the trailers look like when this update is like nearly done before we start flying off the handle at them.